You're listening to an exclusive interview on WNS. All right, folks, joining us on the show this week, former Ring of Honor World Champion, the one and only PCO. Welcome to the show.
Hi, what's going on?
Oh, man, we're just so happy to talk to you. So happy to talk to someone right now because of the global pandemic that's going on right now.
Yeah.
So we certainly thank you for your time. I know the world's in a bit of chaos right now, but I know you sometimes thrive in chaos. So we certainly want to thank you for coming on to the show today.
Yeah, man, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so for not everyone who knows your history, you've been a part of WWF at the time, now WWE. You were a member of the Quebecers. You were part of WCW as part of the Amazing French Canadians. You've been in ECW, NWA. You even retired back in 2011, came out of retirement in 2016, and has since worked your way up to becoming Ring of Honor World Champion. I mean, that must have been a cool feeling because I know you stated in a previous interview that when you were 14, you wanted to be champion. So what was the feeling like when you actually became Ring of Honor World Champion?
Actually, it was pretty emotional. It was pretty rewarding, and it was worth all the effort and all the setbacks and all the failures that I had to go through along my career, and all those things, the good things, the bad things, the family support, the family non-support, depending on the time and depending on the decisions that I made, friends not believing in me or people not believing in me and people thinking I was crazy, and all that kind of was in my mind with flashes, poof, 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 and it's like if my life was like unfolding in front of my eyes like a movie. But it lasted like just a minute or two. But I could have seen or felt every single emotions, every single struggle, and good times and bad times. It was such an amazing feeling.
That's awesome. And I've actually, in preparation for the interview with you, I watched one of the documentaries about you. What all you have overcome in your career. And I know they say age is nothing but a number, but to be at the age that you are, to be the guy for Ring of Honor, to say that is our champion, that's got to have a special meaning towards it as well.
Yeah, it does. But you really have to do a lot of things in order to be able to perform the way that I do. I'm very tough on my body, and wrestling has evolved so much over the last decade that like during the pandemic like that, I got between 2 and 3 workouts per day. Basically, it's all about the wrestling business. There's nothing else. A little bit of, spend some time with my 11-year-old daughter, but most of the time it's thinking about a great video, a great vignette, something that would help, enhance even more this character and make it out there on the universe and make it more popular, making it more an attraction, making more an attention, making more this and more that, and just totally writing about it and thinking about it and coming up with ideas about it. It's a full 24-hour, 7 days a week time job.
Absolutely. And I know, unfortunately, with the global pandemic that's going on right now, that, you're not able to perform in the ring. And I know for a lot of wrestlers, that's got to eat them up inside. But I have seen a lot of wrestlers on social media posting that they're able to work out more. Obviously, they're not taking a whole lot of bumps, so their bodies are feeling a little bit better because of that. So how are you dealing with this crisis that's going on right now? Are you getting a little stir crazy, or are you kind of enjoying a little bit of time off?
That's a little bit crazy. It's kind of tough, but also I enjoy a few more days per week with my daughter that usually I wouldn't have. I can work out in my own gym more, but I don't have where I set up my ring, my training ring. I don't have access to that place because it's been closed down by the city for the pandemic, so I don't have access to a ring. That bothers me a lot. But as far as weight training and conditioning and things like that, everything's under control. So it kind of makes, my days and the Monday night PCO and Destro. So far, we've been able to shoot things still during the pandemic. We're really careful and we're trying to be, 6 feet apart and be really, really careful with the COVID-19. But here in Canada, in Montreal, and in Quebec, the province or the state where I live, it's 50% of the case are coming from elder person, where they live at. So now they've been concentrating a lot more on them and trying to distance them a little bit more and to have more medical staff around them and to try to test them more. I think it's going to give a little break eventually to the other people in the city and all over the place. They're going to concentrate more where they see where it's coming more, like 50% of it. So, but it's hard to tell, when we're expecting a peak here in Montreal, Quebec for April 18th. So that should be the peak. But as of now, people going to the hospitals on intensive cares the numbers are going down or stable for the last 2-3 days. So there's the light at the end of the tunnel. It should, I think, by the summer we should be good by June or July.
And hopefully everything goes back to normal fairly soon.
I think, yeah.
Have you checked on any of the other wrestlers, or has they checked on you, or have you checked on Destro or stuff like that and see how everyone's doing that's in the company?
Well, the thing is that me and Destro were not too far apart from each other. We're probably 15 minutes apart from each other. I could go there with my car. Actually, we train every day together. So I've been I don't know. That's probably the only guys that him and my daughter are probably the only people that I've seen throughout that confinement, the lockdown. But yes, but I've been in touch with Marty a little bit. I've been in touch with some of the people working in the office a little bit. I've been in touch with some of the boys here and there, but we're all on the wait, and we can't wait to start back.
So when things do go back to normal and you'll be able to turn to the ring, who do you want to face? Do you want to go back after the ROH title or someone else?
Yeah, I'll probably go back after the ROH title. I know I got they have to give me a rematch. That's always the case. When you lose a title, you always have a chance for a rematch. But other than that, I think everything was going in a way, and everything was planned accordingly to what was planned. But with that pandemic, things can change on a snap of a finger, maybe new ideas will emerge, maybe new ways of doing this business. I don't know. I'm just expecting something really good for PCO. I'm just thinking that this thing's going to be good for me, and it might have been good for wrestling too, because I think once it's all said and done, people will have been locked down for so long that they will go to every show and they will massively show up, and they're going to be so excited because they haven't done nothing in a while. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, actually. And as far as opponents and things like that, I really don't. I'm not the type of guy that I have a certain guy on my bucket list or mappings things out or anything like that. I fully concentrate on what I can control, and I concentrate on the end result of what I want to accomplish, and I just let this beautiful life putting me through this incredible adventure, and I'm trying to enjoy every second of it.
Very cool. And I know the fans are certainly looking forward to when we can return to a bit of normalcy, but you are looking forward to the future. But this past week, I don't know if you're familiar with the Vice television show, The Dark Side of the Ring. They recently talked about the Brawl for All tournament, which you yourself were a part of. So I was wondering, did you watch the documentary, and did anyone reach out to you about discussing it, or what did you think about being in the tournament at the time?
Everything. I've watched it. I had a lot of people reaching out to me, and at the time, when I got the call that they said that Bruce Pritchard called me and said, Vince got a great idea for you. And I said, yeah, he's got a great idea for me. What is it? And I said, it's called Brawl for All. And then he went along with the whole concept. And I thought to myself, that's such a great idea for myself. But I went along with him. I wanted to show that I had the guts to do it, and I was not afraid of anything. And they gave me Dr. Death right away. The guy got a tremendous reputation. I had a tremendous reputation for being a shoot fighter, a bar fighter, a 4 times All-American football player. Then everybody was so much on to the hype of Dr. Death for this thing that I was nervous. I didn't eat all day, but I really thought I could win that whole thing. I really, in my mind, even though they just called me a week before, I couldn't train, and I didn't have time to train any combos as far as boxing combos, no double jab, hook, or I didn't have anything drilled. I had no drills. I went in there with just my instincts, basically, just trying to do the best that I could, with no training whatsoever, because they called me a week before the tournament to put me in that position, and I did the whole fight, toe to toe with Steve, and actually, he was probably more afraid of me than I was afraid of him. Because just before my fight, Hawk from the Old Warriors came up to me and said, PCO, Steve don't want to hurt you badly, and you know how Steve is. So when he just hit you, tag you with the glove, just take a dive and just don't get up. I said, what? You really want me to take a dive? No, just go back to Steve and just tell him he's in for the fight of his life. I don't care about him. I'm not afraid of him. And so that was it, And after that, Steve Williams we never got along after that. It was always that he hated the fact that I didn't take the deal. I don't know. I just felt like we had a little heat there. And Steve was a bully anyways. I've seen him bullying a lot of guys, young kids in dressing rooms and things like that. So certainly I was not going to take a dive for him. And the whole thing, so many guys got injured. Like Jim Ross said, it didn't do any good for anybody. But I was hoping that I could go through and get 4 wins and get $200,000 and get a big push out of it. But actually, this thing was designed for Dr. Steve Williams to go against Steve Austin at the time.
And had you won, we would have known that you would have then gone on to face Butterbean at WrestleMania. How well do you think you might have done against him?
I've seen Butterbean. First, I think Bart he went straight up to him. He should have danced for a round. Well, we don't know. We didn't know nothing at the time. Now I got to, over the years, I got to talk with boxers, and with George St. Pierre, is a good friend of mine. I trained with him with 5 or 6 months in a row during his career, and we played hockey together, ice hockey, and he taught me a lot of things. So the thing with Butterbean, you gotta gas him out, get him out of breath before you start making, start to attack him hard, So I think Bart didn't know what he was doing, because I've seen Butterbean here in Montreal. He lost against a guy that he shouldn't have lost against him, but the guy just danced around him, made him work. Eventually he gassed out, and the guy just tapped him out. But it was an MMA fight, which Butterbean's more like a boxer. In a boxing ring, I don't think a lot of guys could have beat Butterbean at the time. I think he was probably the top boxer because he was doing like only 4 rounds boxing matches. He was not doing 10 rounds. He was not doing 12 rounds. He was doing only the 4 rounds. So he had an incredible record, So I think he was a real tough guy. He was really good at it.
Definitely a hard hitter, that's for sure. And I know you've wrestled with plenty of injuries throughout your career. In the documentary, it showed an X-ray of one of your ribs cracked in half, and you said you could not stop competing because it's too much fun. So I was wondering, what has been your most painful injury from being in the ring, or what's the worst pain that you felt?
One night against Vader, I had a few. I had a lot. I remember one night wrestling Vader. I don't know where though, but it was a house show, and I just did from running on the apron and just coming with a double axe handle on him outside of the ring, and my left leg kind of slipped, and I just torn an ACL, and I was in pain, and I was telling Vader, just okay, let's go home, and he kept on one more move, and then. And then after a few days, I felt like, okay, maybe I can go with 3 ligaments, not too painful. So I did a full year without getting that surgery. And eventually when things got, slow down, and then I decided to get the ACL surgery. First was done by one of the Montreal Canadians doctors, so it was Eric Lansler, which is a good surgery, a good surgeon, and that was one of them. Also, when I did the NWA Crockett Cup, when we won the Crockett Cup last year in Concord, Carolina, I did the senton from the top rope on the apron. And I don't know, it was not a proper ROH wrestling ring, and it was no padding at all on that side. It was straight on the woods, and my back really was in serious pain, and I barely made it to the final. I made it to the final. It was 3 matches that night, so that was against. I've injured my back against the Briscoes in the semi-main. We won the first match, and we went against the Briscoes, and then we went on the final. And then I had a bad shoulder. Yeah, I had a bad shoulder, and I had a bad back. But it all worked out good. Maybe the next morning, sometimes it's like nothing happened. So I've got a very good body that can recuperate pretty quick, and also I got a high tolerance to pain, which that's why I'm not human.
I'm curious about the morning after from your match with Walter, because the picture that circulated around the internet, you have probably the most bruised chest I've ever seen, and I would not pay enough money to not be you that next morning.
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, it wasn't that bad the next morning. It was worse the night of the show. Basically, I almost got up and showed my chest to a lot of people the next morning, and they were quite impressed that a lot of the bruises had gone out on the span on one night. It was pretty impressive, and it was all worth it, and I got such a huge rush of adrenaline that night that I didn't feel a thing.
It was a crazy match for sure.
I didn't feel anything. Yeah.
So I know you're just taking life one day at a time, and you're just along for the ride. But would you rather retire again or just go until you can't?
No, it's not about going until I cannot go. It's just about achieving things, It's about just things that I wrote down when I was, a kid, and then reread them like later on, and I kind of made like goals, And sometimes you adjust your goals and things like that as life goes on and as you get older. But there's things that I did refuse, those goals that were not going to happen. One of them was to become a world heavyweight champion for a major company. That was one of the goals. The other one was to become also or be one of the greatest attraction in pro wrestling of all time. And I feel that I haven't accomplished that task enough yet, I really want to draw a massive crowd, good ratings, great gates, and I feel I still got that to accomplish in order to retire. So it might take 6 months, a year, 2 years, but it's really not about all along, but when things are going to appear, it's like I would like them to appear. Just a matter of achieving.
Well, we'll certainly be rooting for you. We certainly appreciate you coming on the show, and hopefully this pandemic will blow over and you can return to the ring so you can continue entertaining thousands of fans around the world, and I hope you have a great night.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.